Today, we have the fortune of having with us Dana Gavish-Fridman, who's the Director of Marketing at Yissum. Yissum is a company that transfers technology from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And it's, frankly, for what I know, it's the best in the world. I think it's very important that we listen to her message in Latin America, because we know that universities are engines of innovation and knowledge creation, but we don't always follow through to take that knowledge to the market. And the best universities that do this in the world, as we will see, are the Israeli universities. And within that, Yissum is a leader. So it's great to have you here, Dana. Thank you so much for being willing to speak with us.
Thanks, Ignacio. It's a pleasure being with everybody here today. I'm joining you here from Yissum, which is the tech transfer company of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Yissum is actually the third tech transfer company that was ever established in the world. So we have 50 years of transferring technologies behind us, and we like to share our experience and our successes with everyone. I am happy to share our knowledge, our technologies, and the top science that is done here at the university. And that's what my presentation during the next 30 minutes or so would be about. So here's Yissum's presentation. What it's going to be about is a little bit about innovation in Israel, followed by information about the Hebrew University and the strength of its research, and also about Yissum, its tech transfer company, and how we do business. So here we go. I think the best way to describe what is being going on during the past 20 years or so in the Israeli commercialization arena is indeed what everybody calls the startup nation. Now, this buzzword of the startup nation is really a huge ecosystem that involves quite a few elements in it: government elements, commercial elements, academic elements. And if I need to describe as a metaphor the role of the academy, I would say that looking at universities today, they are the first bead in this necklace that is called the startup nation. After the basic science that is being created here at the academy come the startups and the venture capitals and the small and medium-sized entities, the global companies. Everything comes afterwards. But the beginning, the basic science, starts here at the universities, and that is why they really are a fundamental part of this innovation ecosystem. So starting with a slide that kind of describes exactly how successful Israel is in commercializing IP, intellectual property, let me kind of walk you through this. This is actually new information that came from Israel's Central Bureau of Statistics, a survey that was done this year. And take a look at this comparison between Israel, Japan, the US, and the UK when it comes to number of invention disclosures, patent applications, license agreements, startups, and so on. These are the numbers. But let's take a look at the real interesting numbers. If we look at IP revenues, here are the revenues in millions from commercializing intellectual property. Looking at Israel, a little higher than Japan, higher than the UK, and of course the US has different numbers altogether. But when calculating the expense of R&D in higher education, in academic universities and academic institutes, look how much Israel is spending and compare that to other countries. Now, recalculating IP revenues when standardized with the expense on R&D, take a look at the final number, how much Israel, in comparison to other countries, makes from its intellectual property. And here is why we're called the startup nation, and here is why academic tech transfer is so important in Israel. It really does bring in huge revenues. So just another slide to say, in essence, there's a steady increase in the number of patent applications and inventions that come from academic institutes and universities in Israel. This is a steady increase between the years 2008 and 2013 of 34%. So it continues to grow. Now let's talk about Yissum. This is, as I said, the Hebrew University transfer company and one of the most veteran in the world. The word Yissum actually means application, and we are here firstly to protect the intellectual property and then to commercialize it. Take it out of the university to the product level for the benefit of the public and so forth. So we see the researcher as the main focal point. He can do one of two things. If he has an invention and he comes to us, in 90% of the cases, we'll go for a license agreement model. We could, in some cases, decide to create a startup company around the invention. That is when IP is involved. But researchers can do other things for commercial companies that we call, in essence, collaborative research. So collaborative research could mean services, research, consultancy agreements, and we facilitate as well. When looking at the basic tech transfer model, during the course of research, there sometimes are inventions. Then the researchers come to us and we patent those inventions. We immediately look for commercial partners that can do the R&D and create products. When these products are sold, Yissum and the Hebrew University receive royalties from product sales, and the royalties go back to the researchers and the university for further research. The Hebrew University researchers receive 40% of the revenues to their pocket, to their bank account. Another 20% goes to the lab to do whatever research they wish to do, and the rest 40% goes to the university. So here's a little bit of statistics about Israel's largest and best university, the Hebrew University. This university is really the mother of about 30% of all academic scientific research as a whole, and 40% of all biotech research. Now, of about 1,000 researchers, a little less, there are staff members here at the university. Yissum works with about 400 of them that are busy doing some kind of applied sciences. Take a look at the university at the Shanghai rating of universities. We're rated first in Israel, fifth in Asia Pacific, and 70th worldwide. We're very strong when it comes to mathematics, chemistry, computer science. And it's also nice to point out that all Israeli universities are in the top 500 worldwide. We have a very distinguished list of Nobel excellence, starting with Albert Einstein, that was the founder of this university. He laid the cornerstone to this university in 1921. And the last two prizes were received for criminology and mathematics in 2010. Looking at European Research Council grants, these are starting grants that were received by young scientists that complete their postdoc studies. They come back here to open new labs. And the Hebrew University is actually fifth in Europe in the number of grants it received from the ERC. And of course, we hope that these grants, will generate new patents, new IP, and new applications that we could commercialize. So here's a little bit about Yissum. We are celebrating our Jubilee year, and we were founded in 1964. Today we're 26 people in various departments, and we're headed by Yaakov Michlin. Now the main areas of expertise that we handle here are pharmacology and medicine, agriculture, materials, and computer engineering. If you take a look at the organization chart here, I think the most obvious thing is that we have a very big business development team. We have a team of experts that does the business development around the technologies and creates the agreements that later on move the technology from academia to the next level, to the commercial level. In 50 years of transferring technologies, we patented over 8,500 different patents. And these patents cover over 2,400 different inventions. About a third was licensed out over the years, and 90 companies were started. Of those 90 companies, about 35, 40 are still alive and active today. Today, products that are based on Hebrew University technologies that were commercialized by Yissum generate over $2 billion in annual sales. We're a private company that was formed and fully owned by the university, and our board of directors is mostly consisted of business leaders. So of the 12 members you see here on our board, 3 come from the university. That is the VP R&D, the Director General, and a representative of the researchers. All the rest are business leaders. Chairman of the board is Dr. Aaron Schwartz, that used to be for 37 years at Teva, VP Innovations. And the rest are from different industries. Every year we handle somewhere between 150 to 180 new invention disclosures from our researchers. And about 50 patents receive the status granted. As I said before, about half of what we do is life sciences and biotech. And the rest, materials, agriculture, computer science, and so on, the percentages are pretty much steady every year. This is our biotech product pipeline. These are basically drugs in various clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, human clinical trials. Here you see the names of the molecules and the drugs. In brackets, the names of the companies, the licensees, the startups that are currently developing. And as you can see from the slide, we have 9 drugs in phase 1, 10 in phase 2, and 2 in phase 3. Now, it's also nice to show that of the data we have of all Israeli origin molecules and drugs that are currently under clinical trials, we have a third of the phase 1 and phase 2, and a fourth of the phase 3. And this number goes in correlation with the first number I've given you, which is the fact that the Hebrew University does about 40% of the biotech research in Israel. And these are the results. Of course, we have high hopes for this pipeline of new drugs, in hope they'll be the next generation of products on the market. So in 50 years of transferring technologies, about 90 companies were started. And here you see just examples in every shape, form, and field. The ones that are circled here are public companies. Some are small startups, and some are very, very big companies today, and very successful. Some were even sold to larger and bigger companies. You see here on this slide some of the biggest names in every industry. This is how we do business, mostly in Americas and in Western Europe. And we also are very flexible in the way that we do business. We do business with the small, the medium-sized entities, not just the global companies. Entrepreneurs that wish to come in and take a technology and bring in the funding. We really are very flexible in the way we do business. You see here some examples of our biggest successes. First and foremost is the Exelon drug. This is a drug that treats symptoms of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. It was invented here years ago by Professor Martha Weinstock-Rosine at the School of Pharmacy. This is the second blockbuster drug we have is Doxil. This is a chemotherapy. And other products that generate a lot of money for the university come from agriculture, tomatoes, seeds, peppers, garlic, and many, many more. We should definitely dedicate a whole slide to Mobileye. Mobileye is a company that was established based on a technology from computer vision at the School of Computer Science. Professor Amnon Shashua found a way to take a little camera chip, place it at the front windshield, and it calculates the distance between moving cars, walking pedestrians, and your own car. Basically, it provides warning when you're too close and about to collide. This company has gone to an IPO on NASDAQ in July, and this was a huge event, actually the biggest IPO ever from Israel, from an Israeli company. Now, numbers keep growing, and whenever I update the slide, they still aren't updated, probably because the company keeps expanding its valuation. So by the time it did go to the NASDAQ, its market value was 7.6 billion. Now it's over 10 billion, and it keeps growing. Last year we made about $14 million in research collaborations. We have long-term research collaboration agreements with companies such as Intel, Google, Lockheed Martin, Roche, and many more. And these agreements allow us to fund research and continue to work with the global companies and later on license to them these technologies that they are interested in. So here are the basic tech transfer models we work. As I said before, licensing is the research collaborations, and sponsored research and services are also happening here. We could start up a company with investors. We also invite investors to invest in one of our portfolio companies. We also created new holding companies to allow investment to those of our investors that wish to invest in more than one product or project. So here, talking about money is really an essence, as always, because what we have is very basic research. Looking at academic projects, that's what we have. We'd like to get them here to the independent company level. And of course, that means we need the funding to interest companies in the basic science. For this purpose, we created our own fund. We received permission from this university president to reinvest some of our revenues in promising projects, which we do, and later on license them out under better commercial terms. That's our baby seed fund. Other funds come, of course, from our long-term collaborations with companies that I've shown you before. And we also have the possibility of taking government money that comes from the Office of the Chief Scientist in various programs, some with and some without business partners. But in essence, this money is seed money that is purposed to contribute more to the projects and allow better results that could interest the companies. We also created dedicated funds. One of them is Integra Holdings. This is a holding company that was established 2 years ago, to which we gave our equity in 7 of our most promising portfolio companies in the life sciences field. So now we have a holding company, which is also a vehicle for investment. And indeed, it did raise $8.25 million 2 years ago. Now we have the possibility to invest the money in these startups, but not only them, but also new projects that we have here in the pipeline. Another initiative is to invest in Yissum's AgBio or nanotech funds. These are companies that will have the rights to our best promising projects in the AgBio or the nanotech fields. So the basic model says investors will bring in the money. The fund will invest it in promising projects, and later on, when the projects are either licensed off, we will revenue share with the investors. Now, why is that good? Because, of course, you are the first to take the best science that comes out of the Hebrew University. The risk is low because you invest in a big basket full of different technologies. The investment is small, but the revenues could be very good once these technologies are out on the market. This is our website, a glimpse at our website. It really does look like a shop of technologies. Anyone can just enter, click keywords, take a look at our technologies, and, in essence, find interesting science and interesting technologies that could be implemented into products. To summarize, we're here to create value, and we are here to create value for more science at the Hebrew University. Today, we generate tens of millions of dollars in royalties for the university. We really are like a pipeline of money to the university. Every year we handle about 170, 180 new inventions that come from the best brains in Israel. About 60 license agreements are signed with Yissum every year between Yissum and commercial companies, and about 8 new companies are started every year. Today we are rated somewhere in the top 10, 15 tech transfer companies worldwide in terms of revenues. I thank you for your time. I would love to receive inquiries or questions. You can take a look at our website and take a look at the technologies, or just take a look at our portfolio companies and decide where you wish to invest or partner with us. And we're happy to connect with anyone that's interested in our services and knowledge.
Dana, this was amazing. Right now, I see a ton of opportunities for Latin America and Yissum together. First of all, if I was the dean of a university in Latin America, I would realize that I'm leaving money on the table if I'm not implementing something like Yissum at my university, or from spinning a unit like, or a company like Yissum from my university. Is there any way in which Yissum can help Latin American universities to create a unit like Yissum, or a company like Yissum?
Sure, of course. We do that all the time. What we have at Yissum is special courses that we hold. We actually had a group from Colombia not long ago. 10 people came to learn from us. We have courses anywhere between 3 to 5 day, very, very full day courses. And they cover everything. They cover the legal aspects, the patenting aspects, the commercial aspects, starting companies, business, IT aspects, the software that we have here, and really everything that has to do with running such a complex organization that can help the universities. So we're happy to host more courses, and anyone can just contact me if they're interested.
And what would you say to deans and professors who are worried about whether this will lead to a commercialization, a change in the spirit of the researchers?
Perhaps it's the atmosphere in Israel, but here, being an entrepreneur is a good thing. They used to say that a Jewish mother always wishes her son either to be a doctor or a lawyer. Today, a Jewish mother wants her son to be an entrepreneur and have a startup. Okay? So that's the atmosphere in Israel. Now, talking about the university, this university favors a lot innovation, patenting, anything that has to do with commercialization. Researchers here that invent, that patent, that have products on market, that create business along with Yissum are valued greatly. They have a lot of PR around them, and no one sees this as something that collides or interferes with their research. Now, you know, they do say that there is no basic science and applied science. There's just good science and bad science. Now, once you have good science and it does have applications, there is no reason why not to let the tech transfer company take the business side and take care of that and bring it to commercialization. The researchers, we work very closely with them. They are part of what we do with their inventions, and we're always consulting with them. They are part of the agreements. They know exactly what the company requires of them in terms of further research and so forth. So we do go hand in hand. I'll tell you more than that. This university senate took a decision not long ago that when evaluating new staff for positions here, new researchers, they are looking at their patent portfolio. Now that is rather new, whereas maybe a few years ago they would take a look at citations in articles and publications. Today they do look at a researcher's patent portfolio when thinking of hiring him as a staff member here at the university, and I think that says it all. So at least here, it does not collide. It goes hand in hand, and as I said before, when it's good science and it has applications, that's great, but eventually it is good science. That's what it is, and that's what the university cares about.
Fantastic. The second area of opportunity is for entrepreneurs. For what I heard from you, if there is a Latin American entrepreneur or an Indian entrepreneur who wants to tap into Yissum's knowledge base and the Hebrew University's knowledge base, they can go and look for technologies that you have off the shelf and strike a deal with you and make a business out of that, right?
Sure, of course.
So how would that work?
So in essence, when an entrepreneur comes here, it depends if they need to go and raise the money or they already have the fundings. So as I said, let's assume they have the fundings. They could simply take a technology, start up a company, and start running it. In essence, we'd like to have a board. We'd like to monitor the company and see that it goes in the right direction, and it does the R&D and the development that it should do around the technology, but we let it grow on its own and just monitor it. In the case that an entrepreneur wishes to take an option for the technology and then go raise the money, that's possible as well. In this case, as I said, he takes an option to take the license, tries to raise the money, and later on when he's got the money, we let him have the full license.
Fantastic. And then for what I heard also from you, you also work with companies that are looking to innovate together with the Hebrew University. So these companies can go and hire researchers to do something for them. You mentioned that there are large global companies doing that on a regular basis, and that you're also open for smaller companies. So would that mean that, for example, Latin American companies that want to tap into Israel's research and development capabilities could connect with Yissum and with the Hebrew University and have the university help them solve some wicked problems that they have?
Sure. R&D problems, research challenges. We have the brains here to solve these problems for companies that wish to understand their science and do research. And that's kind of the research side of what I said. We're happy to connect with companies that wish to take their research questions to our scientists and therefore work with us closely on that.
The Hebrew University of Jerusalem probably collaborates with the national government in Israel, and I would just wonder what kind of legal framework you have for technology transfer in Israel, and how that facilitates the work of Yissum.
Well, if I understand your question correctly, when it comes to legal, every Israeli academic institute owns its own IP. The Hebrew University owns its own IP. It's got the rights to his IP, and therefore can do commercialization or not, depends on its will.
Dana, thank you so much. I think that there is a huge opportunity in Latin America to connect the universities to Yissum, as well as other technology transfer companies in Israel. You really showed that Israel is the best in this, and there's tons to learn and to cooperate, not only between universities and Yissum, but also for entrepreneurs and companies, and as well as policymakers. So thank you so much for your time. It's been great to listen to your perspectives, and thank you for your generosity.
Always a pleasure to either meet you or video conference with you, Ignacio. Thanks a lot for this opportunity.